Take a look at some of the names that we're watching in what is broadly another downward session for Australian stocks. In fact, we're headed for a sixth straight day of declines. We've seen, 8 out of the past 9 sessions in the red for Australia, really failing to benefit from the broader AI and tech-driven rally we're seeing in other parts of Asia. Broadly, of course, these Asian markets are just about 1% away from a record high. We are seeing some names sort of keeping their head above water. Whitehaven Coal, they're seeing some of the strongest gains. We're seeing Lynas Rare Earth also up by over 2% there after saying that they do expect disruptions when it comes to specific supplies, sulfuric acid supplies, by the war. Also watching some gains there in Fortescue, 1.7% higher. Let's get back to Bank of America's Breakthrough Technology Dialogue getting underway in Singapore. Haslinda Amin is there with our next guest.
And Heidi, we're speaking with Mark Barnaba, Deputy Chairman at Fortescue. Good to have you with us, Mark. I mean, we've been talking about the Iran war and the implications for companies. We have high diesel prices, high inflation. Is that impacting operations at Fortescue at all?
Thank you, Haslinda, and thank you for having me here today. Yes, so the Fortescue obviously is a mining, also a green energy technology company. We operate in the Pilbara in the northwest of Australia, very remote area. People forget the Pilbara is the size of a large European country. Remote, arid, difficult conditions. We import, as Fortescue, and we have imported nearly 1 billion litres of diesel per year. So as fossil fuel prices change and move up, that affects our operating costs. So yes.
Can you quantify that?
Sure. Our marginal cost of production for an additional tonne of iron ore is in US dollars, just under $20. We are the lowest cost operator out of the big 4 iron ore producers, Vale, BHP, Rio and ourselves. Diesel, if it has gone up, say it goes up by 50 cents a litre on 1 billion litres, that's $500 million. So it has a fundamental impact. One of the reasons we are looking and are creating our own decarbonised green energy grid, which will mean that we completely displace diesel and gas.
Fundamental impact, not just on Fortescue, but Australia as a whole. Inflation is surging. Yep. It is inevitable, isn't it, that the RBA will continue to raise rates?
Yeah, Australia is in a difficult position as we sit here today. The RBA has a band of 2 to 3% for inflation with a target of 2.5%. Inflation is 3.7%. Wage inflation is 3.4%, and wage inflation is the biggest single contributor to inflation. Worryingly, productivity is 1%. And we're at full employment, effectively. We're at 4.3%. So even before the Middle East and imported additional inflation, we are materially above band. CPI data comes out tomorrow. The RBA meets next week. And
you expect a hike?
I'd be surprised if it's not a hike. Policy rate is 4.1%. I'd be surprised if it's not a 25 basis point hike to 4.35%.
And that wouldn't be the last for the year, you think?
Look, it's always difficult predicting, but inflation is sticky. We have had a rate rise already this year. If we have one next week, my expectation is we'll have another one later in the year.
What are the plans for Fortescue? We know that you're in continuation of talks with CMRG of China. Where are you with that? And what concessions are they asking for? Because we also know you're not the only one talking to CMRG.
We are not. We're in the fortunate position of having a very close relationship with China. We were the inaugural foundation supporter of the Baal Conference on Hainan Island. Again, when it occurred last month, we are the largest percentage-wise of our total product exporter to China of our ore. Our founder, Andrew Forrest, has a wonderful relationship, a deep, respectful relationship in China. And probably the largest factor, Haslinda, is that we buy a lot of supply from China. Batteries, solar panels, logging BYD. So it is much more a two-way trade.
But for CMRG, are they asking for concessions?
Well, CMRG is acting on behalf of an industry.
What is it asking for?
They ask for better terms of trade. They would
Such as?
Well, they would like, for example, that the iron ore miners utilise a China-based index, as opposed to, say, Platts, which is the current index. They would like a lot of the trade to occur in renminbi, in their own currency. None of this is unexpected. It's not unreasonable. It's a respect-based, sensible discussion. It is going well. There are commercial confidentialities. They obviously can't be disclosed. But we're very comfortable where we're at.
Is there a sense that this is just the beginning for China as it seeks more metals, like copper, for instance? What's your reading on it?
Yes. I mean, it is a process of industry consolidation and negotiating sophistication. China is a large importer of not just iron ore, but many other products. With their battery industry, they will keep doing that. So I probably would expect more. Do I think that's necessarily bad? No, I don't. Plenty of other countries operate in a similar fashion. You just need to accept it for what it is and do it in a sensible and respect-based fashion.
Mark, we know that Fortescue is making a big push in renewables. Why is that? Some are suggesting that perhaps it's because you don't see growth in metals. And you're putting in millions and millions of dollars into renewables. Might Fortescue become more than just an iron ore player, becomes an iron ore / renewable / wind, solar, and so on and so forth in 5 years' time?
We already regard ourselves as a metals, green energy technology company because we are. We are diversifying. We will establish and are establishing operations which will be completely decarbed. What does that mean? That means for Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions, we will eliminate on that basis our need for fossil fuels. We won't have offsets. Our target is real zero, Haslinda, not net zero. Not net because we've got offsets, real because it's absolute. How do we do that? We will do that with good economics, by the way, which I'm happy to step you through. So, but we're building our own renewable energy grid, which for an industrial company our size, I don't think there's another example that I can point to on the planet. But this is large-scale, 24/7 baseload renewable, a combination of multiple solar sites in our operations, multiple wind sites, multiple BESS, battery energy storage system spread on a high voltage 220 kV, 600 kilometre transmission system with very sophisticated optimised AI. So it is all those factors, the solar, the wind, the battery, the transmission system, the AI that delivers for our operations a totally self-sufficient, green, renewable, profitable and commercial energy system.
We're hearing that you're also building AI. I'm afraid we've run out of time, Mark. I mean, I wanted to ask you about AI and data centres in Western Australia, but we have to leave it there. Mark Barnaba, Deputy Chairman at Fortescue. There you have it, our conversation here from the event being held by Bank of America. Heidi.
Haslinda, Amin there in Singapore. We have plenty more when it comes to these conversations on Australia Ahead every Tuesday at 10:40 a.m. if you're watching in Sydney, 8:40 a.m. if you're catching us in Hong Kong. Plus, you can tune into the Bloomberg Australia podcast, delving into the biggest stories shaping the country's role in global business. You can find that on Apple, Spotify or Bloomberg.com. More ahead on the Asia trade. This is Bloomberg.